You got to put your money where your mouth is sometimes. And it's so easy to sit there and say, I can live with Jameis Winston for a whole season. Yeah, we can run it back with him. And I'm not saying Jameis was the biggest problem with the Browns yesterday because Dustin Hopkins is our kicker. So when I watched that game and I just asked myself, could I do this 17 games over? I think it's easy to say, yeah, right now because it's the situation that you're in. But you watch that game and you just see the vast differences between a good team and a bad team. And there's also now the situation the Browns are going to have to rebuild some of the culture here with this football team. More than anything, yeah, players are nice. You got to have those, got to have a scheme. You look at teams that know they're going to win football games. The Chiefs, the Lions, the Eagles find ways to win football games because they believe. The Browns made the playoffs last year because they believe that they can make the playoffs. Game I saw yesterday, you're going to have to rebuild that. You're going to have to rebuild that. And it comes back to whether you think Kevin Stefanski can do that or his culture, all that. That game sucked. That game sucked watching the Browns play yesterday. Lots to unpack there. We'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. Freaking Kadarius Toney, Dustin Hop, just so many of those things that are marks of a bad football team were checked off on that box yesterday for the Browns taking on the Steelers. So we'll talk about that. Cavs, Miami flew. I didn't want to say that. Listen, Miami came out. You had back-to-back for both teams. Ain't going to win them all. All right, you're not going to win them all. That's fine. I would have liked to have beaten Miami, but all eyes are now on Evan Mobley and his twisted ankle. So I hope it's a minor thing to have that potentially derail things. And I got a take on what that injury might actually mean for the Cavs coming up when it relates to the trade deadline and maybe what that relates to Jared Allen. Life's all about timing, right? This Evan Mobley injury, which I hope is minor, could have an impact on all that. We'll get going. College football playoff set. Of course, Alabama's going to bitch. And they're coming out going, I guess we got to change our schedules now. How about win your games? Maybe that's a good start right there. The bracket is out. I don't think there's too much you can complain about as far as the teams they selected. Yeah, we can argue about the buys and all that kind of stuff. Ohio State, Tennessee, exactly what you thought. I don't understand the Penn State thing. I do not understand Penn State being above Ohio State. Oregon dominated that game. Penn State got back into it a little late. My double-digit cover, Ryan, didn't quite come to fruition like I thought. But the bracket out, I can't complain about Ohio State. Ryan asked me because I can't wait to get your thoughts on this. We'll do that on the show coming up a little bit later. We'll get to timeout. We got the bracket, grid, another edition of the morning update, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got it all on a bit of an ugly Monday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have you alongside. Be following at Matt Fontana Show. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is Big Play. And you can check us out on Instagram, Big Play. We're up on Twitch at Matt Fontana Show as well. And congratulations to Matt, who won our Donovan Mitchell jersey. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really nice. He's like, I think I'm going to give it to my son. I'm like, that's awesome. That's great. So he won it last week. Another fresh week for us to jump on that grid. Ryan trying to give away on the way out here in 2024. All right, Juan Soto signed.
Yes, he did.
He signed for more money than LeBron and Tom Brady have made in their careers combined.
That's baseball
combined. On the anniversary.
Welcome to the show.
Of Shohei Ohtani signing his deal. 1 year ago today, Shohei signed his deal. We'll get to the Soto thing later. Not that it impacts the Guardians at all anymore.
It's so nice to get him out of the AL.
He's out of the AL. I love watching these Yankees fans are going to bitch that they finally got outbid for a player. They've just taken advantage of that forever, and now they finally get... Also, one of the things where, they only lost him on $5 million. That's one way you could look at it. Now, he got a $75 million signing bonus. But we'll talk about the Soto thing later and just how broken baseball is and all that. Browns are broken, man. And listen, we all talk ourselves into it and thought maybe there's a chance we could somehow beat the Steelers again. But you watched that game yesterday, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate reminder that we are a bad football team. And what I mean is stupid, brain-dead penalties yet again. We lead the league in pre-snap penalties. Shifts. Elijah Moore standing there trying to get set. False starts. Like, the mental side of this team, which is kind of funny because it drains our mental energy. The mental side of the Cleveland Browns are broken. And I get it. This season is done. You're now officially eliminated from the playoffs. We're keep looking up. By the way, we're 3-10. You're picking 8th. There's a lot of bad football teams in the NFL right now. But I get it. And that's the mental state of the Cleveland Browns right now. I can't expect much different, right? And the words of Kevin Stefanski get rallied on up for yet another game. They're going to start falling on deaf ears. And what he can do to try to just get a semblance of a football team out there is going to be a minor miracle for every game on the way out here. You're going to try to sell to these guys, well, spoil some of these other teams' things, or we got to try to win. And it all comes back. I don't want Kevin Stefanski fired. I feel like games like that ask the question, do they have to rebuild the culture? You don't go through a losing season. Well, I shouldn't say that. You could be a really bad team like the Panthers and feel like you're building culture, right? They had the Eagles on the ropes for a little while yesterday. Maybe should have won that game. So they're building culture while being a losing team. It's different when you're a team that was good, is no longer good, and you have got to recapture that. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm not saying they won't, and that's for next season. But yesterday, more than anything, proved that the Browns make mistakes to shoot themselves in the foot. They're not a good football team. Now, I will always contend that is a benefit of being a good team and winning. Some of those mistakes get glossed over. They're not such a big deal. But it does come back to what is the backbone of this football team. I'm not talking about scheme. I'm not talking about running Nick Chubb. I'm talking about the backbone of these players to look at some of these other guys and go, stop being an idiot. Stop doing stupid things. Stop missing kicks that I watch a drunk kid get pulled out on College game day. He makes that field goal. Go pull a drunk Yenzer out of the stands, did a 32 freaking yard field goal. That's stupid stuff that you're going to have to fix. Not now. There's no point now. But you're just creating problems and you're mounting this stuff up to try to then compete next year. That's the most frustrating thing. I can't give up on 2025 already. And I'm sitting there saying, we got a lot of problems we got to fix. I don't know why. Maybe like Monday night when you're throwing for all these yards and like you had fun in that game. It was a little bit different. This one, you're just like, oh my God. And yeah, we lost by double digits in the fumble, all that kind of stuff. Where those field goals have been though? Like, damn it. Real quick on Hopkins. We're done here. Like, that's a bad contract. I say that. Everybody was jumping for joy when they signed him. All right. You thought you had your guy. This guy I work with on ESPN. He works for a lot of betting outlets. His name's Mark Zinno. He's a great fellow. And Zinn always on Twitter just goes freaking kickers, man.
Yeah.
He talks about it when Justin Tucker was missing. He was freaking kickers, man. I have a fear that this is the mark of a lot of kickers. You try to ride the high of the wave knowing that the bottom is going to fall out. The only way you fix that is going somewhere else. Kickers are nothing but hired guns over and over and over again. And yeah, it worked so well for Justin Tucker forever. And, I'm sure they love Jake Bates and the Lions and Chris Boswell's a freaking beast and all that. Eventually, I'm not trying to even be an a-hole right now. It's going to fall out for Chris Boswell eventually too. They all do. And you see all these guys that they just keep the only way to reset that is to go somewhere else. And I have a fear now that you've used up all your Dustin Hopkins juice, but you still got him on the books. Still got a contract you got to pay him. Seems like a bad idea. I shouldn't even say that, Ryan, because we were all over the hill. They were all over the moon when they signed him. Nobody had a problem with that when you did it. But here we are. You made too many mistakes. You played like a bad football team. You got beat down by your rival. That's exactly how that goes. I did want to talk about Jameis this morning, though. Because watching that game where that interception was, listen, screen pass, Keanu Benton made a great play. Man, did I want him out of the draft. I loved him coming out of Wisconsin, but I digress. That was a great play, all right? That throw to Jerry Jeudy, money. Jameis got out of the pocket, showed some wheels, made some nice throws, but it's also just infuriating. It's just hard to watch at times. And I sat down after that game and I asked myself this question. Do I really want to sign up for 17 games of that next year? Do I have a choice? Now, you always got a choice. But it's like, I'm still going to say, yes, Jameis, bring him back for the year. I'm going to try to go back to the good games and remember how I felt and remember that he can lead you to wins and throw for 450 freaking yards or whatever. But you're going to have games like that. And that's why he's here. That's why he's not a viewed starter across the league anymore. But I saw some things yesterday. I think it was Matt Wilson, offensive line coach. I follow him on Twitter. He's like, maybe Marcus Mariota.
Whoa.
I know. I saw that. I was like, all right, is that the bottom of the barrel scraping? Certainly Kirk Cousins not going to be in Atlanta anymore.
Come on.
Kirko's going to be available.
See, we're at this point where everything seems so down, and obviously it all gets piled onto the quarterback, and most of the times rightfully as it should. But we're at that point where, yes, we're talking about Marcus Mariota. We're talking about Kirk Cousins. But the reality is, Matt, listen, you talk about having a choice. Yes, and in essence, you do have a choice. But you really don't. And I'm fine with signing up for Jameis Winston for 17 games. Like, you take away, I understand you're not going to take away the picks. That happens. But you take away the 2 missed field goals. I mean, you still lose to Pittsburgh, but it's a pretty minimal defeat. Like you said, you haven't done it since Tim Couch. But what you get, you get games in Denver, the good and the bad. That's what you have. But it's better than what our other options are next season.
DTR, Mariota.
You can talk about DTR. Yeah. I mean, maybe he'll get a couple chances here at the end, but we'll see what that amounts to.
Yeah.
And you're not starting Deshaun Watson. You're like, I just don't think you can go back to that point.
No, and you're right. The best of a bad situation. At this point, all you're trying to do is make the best of a bad situation. The other gnawing problem in this whole thing is what? We're not going to go anywhere until you find a franchise quarterback, and things are lining up that you won't even get a chance to address that.
Right.
And you're going to have to push this can down the road yet another year. That is kind of the mountain that fell onto my head yesterday, finishing that game. I go, yeah, that's fine with Jameis, and it's going to probably drive us nuts next year, and it's going to be at times really hard to watch, but it's also clear and apparent we are going to be yet another year away from truly addressing the real problem, unless they do something crazy, unless they try to go find another reclamation project. You do go get Justin Fields or something. I have no idea, right? But as we sit here today, you don't see them drafting a guy. You don't see them really making a splash in free agency. And then you just get frustrated to know that you feel like next year's a lame duck year. Even with Jameis, we can hype ourselves up and try to talk about all this other stuff. But it's like, that's the worst part of all of this, is the time. And we said this ad nauseum. We talked about a lot on the show, Ryan. This is not over. This is far from over. And I say that, and you tell yourself that, but it's a lot harder when you actually still got to go through it. Well, and you still got to sit there and pay the piper.
I've come to terms with the repercussions of the contract probably halfway through this season, knowing that Deshaun Watson was unequivocally not the answer, and he's never going to be to even half of what he was in Houston, obviously, is, yes, the money of that contract sucks, but there's ways to get over that. But what you can't get over is just how far it sets you back in terms of, okay, now we really have no option of trying to go find a quote-unquote franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get this fixed next season. And that's what a lot of people need to accept, is that you're not going to go listen, if we go to the playoffs next year, great. But listen, you're not competing for an AFC championship. You're not competing for a Super Bowl. And you really never, quite frankly, were. Like, it seemed like you were with Joe Flacco, but I think we all know, like,
lipstick on a pig.
When the shoe hit the floor, like, that's what you get. Like, you're not going to beat the Chiefs and Bills. You're not beating these teams. And you're not going to do it next year because you don't have the quarterback. And that's just something you have to live with. And that's why you can figure out other problems with this team, because it's certainly not just the quarterback, as we know. But next year, say you go with Jameis Winston, I mean, that's probably your best bet.
But is that enough when these guys walk back into Berea in August? Are they going to show up and feel like, yeah, we're actually, because if you don't have that, you've got nothing.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have that, you've got nothing.
You don't have a choice.
You're right. And that's the crappy part about already projecting to next year. That's more of anything that came out from that game, is that whatever small little sliver of culture and hope you had, I think is gone. And you're trying to ask Kevin Stefanski to move a mountain with this. I don't know, and I'm sure if anybody ever played sports, you know when you're on a really bad team and you're going to play somebody really good, you step on that floor, that court, that mat, the golf course, whatever, we're going to get our asses kicked here. And most likely what happens, you will. That's what's going to also then have to rebuild. I guess I was naive to think, well, maybe we could carry some of this over. That's done. That's done. And you're going to look at some of the veteran guys on this team to hopefully just say a hard reset next year, hopefully. But again, you're not going to feel, because you got all these little strings just attached and all this stuff that just carries over. Yeah, the Watson contract's what I'm talking about. You want to know the real question? Is it possible for the Browns to have any hope while Deshaun Watson is still here? That is a sobering, negative question. But I just feel like this dark cloud just hangs over. And I don't know if it's going to be remedied until he gets out of here.
Yeah, well, because there's no possible way to go get a franchise quarterback.
Right.
It's just not. And
but
listen, we know, and Matt, and we talk about this, and I think you agree here. Listen, can you make it work sometimes like the Rams did with Matthew Stafford? Sure, yes, we've seen it happen before. Yeah, but you got to go get your guy in the draft.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, Darnold looks
you're
fine.
You're sitting here 3-10 with the 8th pick.
Yeah,
3-10, and even then, you're not getting Shador, Cam, and even if you were, I mean, could one of them be a franchise guy? Sure, certainly.
Still rookies.
But like, are you betting on one of those guys to really be the next elite quarterback? I don't know.
The thing is, even if they got the franchise guy, I picked this saying up. You hold on to something too long, eventually it starts to drag you around. When you got something like this that has just carried over, that has just been lingering, can they truthfully really make the steps forward that they need to while he's still here? And I know that the money thing and really the only avenue is to have him sit around here. You spread the dead cap around, you play those kind of games. But if the Browns realize what I'm talking about right here, to say that there is no way to actually be able to move this franchise forward while Deshaun Watson is still here and getting paid, then they need to make the stupid move and get rid of him now. They could try to tell me different, and they could just say, we'll tell him to go home and all that other kind of stuff. It just lingers and it festers. And you see what happens yesterday. They need to cut Kadarius Toney today. You celebrate down 20? You muff a punt. Game was over. I'm done. Jermaine Ifedi pushing a guy. Now, they got the other ones, right? Joey Porter pushed, and it was a rivalry chippy game. I'm done with that crap. I'd sit down with this team. I'd look every one of them in the eye and go, you guys aren't good enough to talk crap. You are not good enough to be shoving guys after the play. Well, you got to stand up for yourself and stand up for your teammate. Yeah, that's fine. Go look at the freaking scoreboard, man. You're down. You cannot be doing that stuff.
Yeah.
What they do with Dustin Hopkins, I don't know. I have no idea. Stefanski said what he had to say, because it's the only thing he said, well, he's our kicker still a guy for now. Sure, fine. That is, it's really bad. That is a serious major problem. Ryan, it's not even like on the list at this point. You know, it's like not even something that you really even spend energy talking about, because they got so many other issues and problems that they got to get solved.
Yeah, Charles says, y'all need to relax. The Browns only need to fix O-line, draft running back, maybe another edge opposite of Garrett, and we'll be competitive next season. But the thing is with that, well, first of all, it's not that easy to just go ahead and fix the O-line. Yeah, you can draft a running back, but you've got older guys on expensive contracts. It's not that easy, right? And then also, I don't want to be competitive. I don't want to just be competitive. I want to be uber competitive to the point where I can actually have a chance to go to the AFC Championship and Super Bowl.
Sure.
Now, the problem is you were 5 minutes away with Baker from going to the AFC Championship, whatever. That's revisionist history. I get it, but that was still probably the closest you've been to actually competing for championships, right? Now we're at that point where, yeah, we can go ahead and be competitive. You can have a season like with Joe Flacco. You rattle off 11 games, you go to the playoffs, but you're still, no matter what, you need that quarterback. And it's fun to be competitive, but I'm just so sick of this cycle. And not only could we be competitive next year, sure, but then you're wasting away again years of Miles, of Denzel Ward.
That's almost like that's done. You know, it's sad. That sucks.
Yeah, we can be competitive, but because of everything that's happened in the Sean Watson contract, we might be competitive, but then it's going to be another cycle of us being trash until we figure out another formula. And who knows if we'll get that figured out.
And then again, if they're keeping the head coach and they're keeping the general manager to try to do this over again, I'm going to say this because it's what popped into my head, and it's usually kind of how I do the shows. What I think of, I bring it up to you, I bring it up to Ryan, and here we are. And I'm not saying, I want to make this clear, I'm not trying to be a jerk. Have they learned? I'm being dead serious. Have they learned? Because that might be the only hope that I have right now, is that they've made about every mistake under the sun that they could have. And I'm not talking about just the regime, I'm talking about the ownership. Had they finally learned? I don't know. I have no idea. Okay? Because that's the only thing that you would like to think could pull us out of this, is to say that they finally figured out how to do this. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Go look at San Francisco. Go look at some teams you thought were going to be good. Miami. Now, a lot of those are injury predicated on those teams. But they thought they had it all figured out. Well, come slap you right in the face, right? How bad was Detroit for a long, long time? Look at them now. But the thing about Detroit, and that's the motto you got to take, draft pick, draft pick, draft pick, draft pick, draft pick, draft pick. Okay, you got Jared Goff, draft pick, draft pick. Like all they did was ace all of these draft picks. And then you have built a team that a guy like DJ Reader goes, yep, I'm going there.
And even if the Browns did learn from their mistakes, and hopefully they did, that's still going to come at the cost of, are you really going to be able to go through another rebuild and keep Stefanski and Barry? The answer to that, I would assume, is no.
Probably not.
Now, would you even want to keep Barry? Obviously, my thoughts on that. But then again, that probably comes at the cost of, are you really is Kevin Stefanski going to be comfortable here for another 3 years of this rebuild process, which I don't want to say he wasn't part of a major rebuild after Baker, but I mean, you really, after you traded Baker, you got rid of like guys like Jarvis Landry. I mean, you really shifted that dynamic. Like, are they going to survive that? The answer to that, probably no.
Probably not. It just comes back to what? The belief. This team has lost their belief, as they should. They were eliminated from the playoffs, but do they have enough? Again, the Panthers have been long out of it. They still show up. You want to know why? Because they believe that Bryce Young might actually be their guy now. The Browns are in one of the worst situations you can have in sports. And you could go to baseball teams. You could go look at the Wizards in the NBA. You could pick out whatever you want. That is something that costs people jobs when you've lost all hope. And you've lost all belief. And that is where the Browns are at right now. There isn't much to grab onto to say that this will even turn now or this will turn in the future. And that, unfortunately, inevitably will do what? Cost Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry their jobs. That's what's going to happen here. And if I really wanted to sprinkle on top of that, which again, I want Stefanski to stay. I think he's a good coach. We have got to knock off this stupid penalty mental error mistakes. There has got to be accountability for that. Yeah, and I know Kadarius Toney is just some practice squad guy. What message does that send? I don't care. Get him out of here. It's not like what was he doing for you anyway? There's obviously clearly a reason they didn't want him in New York and Kansas City anymore. Does he have that power to go in there and say, you're done here? We're not doing that. That's not how we do things here. That's like, again, that statement alone, that's not what we do here. Yeah. You know who that makes me think of? The Steelers and the Ravens and the Patriots of the past. Yeah. When you've got that to say, that's not what we freaking do here. You don't have that. You don't have that. And that is one of the biggest reasons about why the Browns are struggling right now.
Yeah, and
they don't have that.
And I can't wait to hear Kevin's answer of why he was out there after the first
That's one. Another, why did you even put him back out there?
Like, what? Yeah, I mean, you talk about sending a message. A dude who was already probably on very thin ice, not only in Cleveland, obviously, but in the National Football League, for somebody to be that unaware of how lucky they are to be in the NFL and then still continue to do those stupid penalties or just stupid, things that are not beneficial to you or the team. I mean, at some point, the writing's on the wall. Like, you can't put up with that one bit.
Well, and that's the other problem okay, I like Kevin a lot. I would say, and some things that I've heard, he's not a real I'm going to break my foot off in your ass kind of guy. And I think that we appreciated that when we needed level-headedness, and sometimes in your CEO head coach type, you don't want an emotional hand over the nuke button ready to detonate everything. But you got to have a little element of it. Your players, I don't necessarily think they need to fear you, but they better respect you. And a little part of that has got to be fear. I've seen a lot of lame duck coaches around this place, man. And I'm not saying that he's that. But today, of just sending a message that that's not what we're going to stand for, in a game that you got borderline blown out, did it really matter? Not so much. But you got to fight for something. There's an old adage, you got to earn your respect every week in this league, right? I need him to show up every Monday and say, I got to earn the respect of these guys in here right now because it's wearing thin. That tank's about empty. And what's he going to do to keep these guys motivated, to keep this kind of forward on the tracks? We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to go. There's a lot to go still left. And then we'll sit here and toll through mock drafts and see, Mason Graham or Michael Williams or whoever you take in the first round, and you try to get the Jameis deal done. Who knows? Who knows? And the thing is, what if Jameis gets another offer to go somewhere else? He'd probably be like, maybe I want to get out of here too. There's that line about Stefanski too. I can't remember who said it. It might have been Lock and Four. I don't remember who brought it up. Was it? Stefanski might even want to get out of here.
Yeah, it was Lock.
He might even want to start, getting his options and moving on somewhere else.
He would welcome an exit.
That's hearsay bullcrap, I think. I mean, I get it, but things are going bad. You're gonna do it, rip the Band-Aid off, I guess. I don't know. I just that game yesterday. We'll go through the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up here in a couple minutes. But the culture, more than the game. More than you could not run the ball. Can we stop giving it to Jerome Ford when we need a yard? For the love of God. Please. 1 yard. That's twice. That is back-to-back weeks that I need a yard. And you put it in Jerome Ford's hands and he loses yards. People go, that was a stupid play call. You had one guy to beat. It wasn't quite as clean as the other game, but you had one guy to pick up 1 yard. Stop giving him the ball in short out. Why do they keep inactivating Deontay Foreman? Seriously, why?
I know we said we're not going to talk about Jed Wills anymore on the show, but what is that?
That's been in my mind all morning.
Why would you wait just to put him on IR now? What is going on?
What is that?
What is going on? Something's fishy.
That's a big old game getting played there. That was a big old giant middle finger to Jed Wills. That's what that was.
But does that even punish him?
It was when they made him keep practicing, or at least keep going through. Now he gets to go away. I'm sure he'll still be at the facility, but now he knows he's not going to play. Their hands got tied with the other injuries, because they needed to sign guys to the active roster. But I think Jed Wills just hanging around was them just saying, you're not getting out of this, man. I think that's what that was. That was a big old blank you. We're going to make you come to the meetings. We're going to make you go through your rehab. We're going to make you do all the stuff, which is kind of maybe apparent that he doesn't want to do.
So you traded him for a fifth?
I would have done anything. I mean, what would you do?
I'd just take anything I could get. Absolutely.
He's done now. Yeah, he's gone. But I think what happened was they would have liked to just let him, waste away. That's basically what was happening there. And then when their hands were tied, I'm going to equate to my fantasy football teams, but you sit there and you're like, I am required to I have to do something here. We don't have enough roster spots. We got guys down in the D line. We got to do something here. That's what happened.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think they were, just from my view, they were fine to keep Jed Wills hanging around to send that message to him. You got to show up. You got to keep going through rehab. And then eventually they go, well, it's up between cutting him or Diabate. Or so, it's like, we can't do that. So we're just going to have to make this move because we need bodies for this game. That's what I think happened. But again, file that away. I said at the time that picking up that fifth-year option, not a good idea. Here we are.
This whole season has just been such a just comedy of errors and mismanagement.
No, welcome to it. I mean, that's the problem is I've seen this over and over again with other Brown seasons. And the thing is, I guess to wrap this up succinctly before we talk some Cavs, college football, get to the good, bad, and the ugly, you're going to be good again. I know it doesn't seem that way. I know things suck right now, and I think a lot of Browns fans need to hear this. We will be good again. I don't know when. I wish I could tell you for sure it's next year. I hope it's next year. We'll be back again. You find yourself that quarterback. You invest in some other positions. You get rid of the albatross. We'll be good again.
But here's the thing. It's
like sick of waiting around.
You can change bodies and you can hire new head coaches. You can bring them all in. But when it's so ingrained in your DNA and you're obviously not getting rid of
word of the day,
and you're not getting rid of the ownership.
Culture.
It's like, is it really? Because yes, were we good? Well, you seem to be good on the surface. Yeah, you won 11 games, but ever since you got rid of Baker, I mean, you've had highlights, but really, have you ever been closer than you were with Baker? I think the answer is no to that.
Yeah.
And can you get back to that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, and you're going to have to rebuild a part of that. You're going to have to rebuild some pieces here with this team moving forward. So it's a lot to do. All right, we got to talk Cavs, got to talk college football playoff coming up. We'll get to the good, bad, and the ugly, but Fairway Ford, right? Tell everybody no, yeah. The Christmas sale is on at Fairway Ford. Look at that. F-150 rates, 1.9% potential.
That's low.
$16. Isn't that great? No payments for 90 days. They have over 300 F-150s.
So much lower than
they
mine.
are the largest. Isn't that crazy, though? Think about that. Like, when you talk interest on vehicles or houses or anything like that, you might think like 0.1%, this and that, or the extra payments that you make. Folks, that's saving you thousands, potentially tens of thousands of dollars right now at Fairway Ford. The Christmas sale is on with the largest selection in the state of Ohio. I'm going to say it again. The largest Ford truck selection in the state of Ohio resides at Fairway Ford. It's a short drive out there to Canfield. They got the 2025s coming in. Go pick yourself up that brand new 2024 F-150. And you might have an idea of Ryan, what's one thing going to buy a new car you got to have? Heated seats.
Okay.
We don't have them in my current car. My wife does. Get in the car cold. She goes, man, I miss those heated seats. All right, check that off the list.
Remote starts.
Remote start. Got to have it. I'm indifferent on the moonroof. I'll take it, but I don't have to have it. All right. I like cloth seats, but with the kids, leather's better. So, okay, we're open on that option. Make that wish list. 'Tis the season. Make that wish list. They might have one already on the lot for you. You know, you're kind of, again, open like cloth or leather. I'm open to either, black or gray or black or white, whatever color. The wheels, okay, this and that. Folks, they might have it already there for you. Same thing with the Explorers, same thing with the Broncos, same thing with the Edge, same thing with everything on the lot right now at Fairway Ford. And then get in there for the Christmas sale. Take advantage of it now and find your dream ride. That new ride for 2025, it's all there for you at Fairway Ford. And again, they will not be beat on price. They just are so good about making deals and getting you the APR that you need. Look at that deal right there. Again, potential 1.9%, 60 months. That's the other important part of it too. You want to be able to pay this off. You want to be able to move on. Like, get the deals you're looking for there. They're willing to make deals because they like being able to move cars. They like being able to get people into the ride that they're looking for. Don't forget, December 21st coming up. There's stuff in the trunks there for the Animal Charity of Ohio. If you can take it out there, take your pet. You can get your picture with Santa while you're there. Stuff the trucks for the Animal Charity of Ohio. If you can't make it out there, please check them out on their Amazon and Chewy wish list, and you can send them so be able to donate and help out that cause there. But that's just a little piece of what Fairway Ford does to give back. Over 20 years, family-owned and operated, hundreds of vehicles, the largest selection in the state of Ohio. It's the place to go. It's a short drive to Canfield. I was in the car all weekend, Ryan, driving. Canfield, what? Maybe 45 minutes from here? Maybe about. I do that to save myself a lot of money. And you'll do that with our friends at Fairway Ford, fairwayfordohio.com. All right, Evan Mobley going down. Listen, Miami, it's a tough place to play. The Miami flu, whatever. Back-to-back. It wasn't even that because they got out of Charlotte, They probably landed in Miami late night, whatever. The Evan Mobley injury, is it weird I'm not concerned? Like, he went back in, which sometimes is a good and bad thing, but you saw him. He actually brought the ball back up the court right after he twisted his ankle. You know where my mind instantly went? What does this change about Jared Allen? So I'm on this track of thinking they might actually still end up trading Jared Allen. We know how they signed that contract. We know that there will be a small window coming up. Jared doesn't look like himself.
I don't think you can afford to, though.
So here's the debate. Here's the conversation, right? At this point, do we have a good vibe of what you think Kenny Atkinson wants to do with this Cavs team? Probably. Now, it's an ever-evolving work in progress. You're only a month and a half into the season. Okay. But I don't know if I just see that Jared Allen is all that uber super involved. Now, that could be, Darius Garland, back. Okay? The evolution of Evan, Steph Curry, Mobley, right? That was fun. Saturday was a lot of fun. That was cool. Eventually, there's going to have to be a guy left out. And maybe that was Jared Allen. And now you maybe see parallels to last year when you were missing guys. It's okay, we're going to have to step up here. And this time, I think, is going to be uber crucial to answering the question, do you have to have Jared Allen here? Now, I'm not one that I'm just trying to trade him away, okay? I really just thought last offseason they were going to move on from Allen and Garland, okay? I'm glad they didn't. But here you sit. This time, if Evan Mobley misses a significant amount of time, I hope not. And I'll play medical doctor because everybody else does on Twitter too. It didn't look that bad. Okay. It looked like it hurt. Well, it hurts. But the fact that he stayed in there, like maybe this is a minor thing. Who just picked up a really bad ankle injury?
Oh my gosh.
Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram. And then by the way, did you see Franz Wagner also has now a torn oblique, the same thing that Paolo Banchero had? So I hope that this is just, he misses 2-3 games. Okay. I don't know if that's a big enough stretch to tell. But you're going to get a look at it of saying, what does it look like without Evan Mobley now? And I think that will just give you the ammo that they'll need to understand what's going on with Jared Allen. Am I wrong? Am I reading differently about Jared Allen? I don't know. I just feel like he's not as involved anymore. I don't know.
And that might be true, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form the Cavs can afford to trade Jared Allen unless you were at the trade deadline and you got somebody else. You don't even have a backup center.
Like, no, Dean Wade had to go to the 5 yesterday.
And that's fine, but that's not going to work. When you're playing teams like Boston, you have Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. No, you have to have Jared Allen. You're not winning that game without him. Like, can we talk about next year if you do actually do something in free agency and you bring in somebody to replace him, or you bring in two lesser guys, but it equals out because you have a backup? Like, yeah, that's fine. But right now, I don't think you can afford. I don't even think you can entertain the thought unless you are actually at the trade deadline and you're able to pick up something that could replace his defense.
And you're going to see what it looks like.
I mean, you'd be asking a lot out of Evan Mobley.
I know. And then you start talking about him not being able to be the 3-point shooter that you hopefully dream that he can be. I get that trickle-down effect and the sprinkle effect of you trade this, you move this off and all that. But I don't know, man.
The way the roster is right now, you cannot afford to get rid of him.
And I like the roster. I like the construction. And we've talked a lot about them having to go an opposite way. The rest of the league is set up this way. You're kind of going off in this other direction, doing it differently. Now, you would have that shift if you did move on from Allen or said, we're going to maybe try to go the way the rest of the league is going. But you're off to a 17-4 start? The best start in Cavs history, right? Is that our record?
I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
17-4, does that sound right to you? No, 21-4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're 21.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, that's no way.
What are you talking?
It's 17. I don't know why 17 on my. I was going to say, I'm like, that didn't sound right. I was like, you're off to a 21-4 start. You're doing just fine. You're doing fine. All right. But that's a little idea of what you're going to see without Evan Mobley. From that game, I'm not going to be overly concerned.
But I mean, also, when you have Evan Mobley dropping 40-plus points, what do you expect Jared Allen to do offensively?
Yeah, that's kind of my whole crux is you got other guys that are filling it up. What do you need out of Jared Allen?
You need defense, and you need length and rebounding.
Yeah, and
that's all you really need it for.
Sure,
and that's great.
That's what he's doing. Yesterday was an off day. They seemed tired. I know we finally got that little stretch a couple weeks ago where they got some time off, but you had to fly in. It's Miami. It's not easy. I am not. Listen, I don't like losing, but that game is kind of whatever to me. You lost. It is what it is. And they're back in action in a couple days, so we'll see how it goes. All right, college football playoffs we go.
All right, come on. Bitch at me while Penn State's ahead of Ohio State. I want to hear your argument. Because they beat them?
We beat
because
them.
They beat them? Well, Matt, damn well.
Them.
That's not how the NCAA works. It doesn't matter if you beat them. You know how it works.
And that's where
Clemson's ranked behind SMU. That's how it works.
I would yell.
You lost to Michigan.
I would yell.
You lost to Michigan.
I can't. I have no ground to stand on. And I'd yell that to Alabama, who's freaking out right now. The committee. Ryan, does what they want. Say it with me, everybody now. The committee does what they want. And they did what they wanted to do. On the 14 teams, though, right? 12 teams, not 14. We'll beat a 16 before you know it. I actually don't have a major complaint about the teams they picked.
Right.
That's fine.
But okay, then you're going to go ahead and bitch about. But here's the thing.
Look at that path for Penn State. They do not deserve that.
I understand. But here's the thing. When you decided to make conference championships this important, why you have like Boise State and Arizona State, who got the bye now that SMU got knocked down, is yes, you're going to have that because you're giving those such importance to those teams. You're going to have teams that fall behind, and really you're going to, and in essence, that not only benefits the teams that lost like Penn State, but it penalizes like Oregon, who now has a harder second round than Penn State would. I get it. That doesn't make any sense because you just beat them.
That is a freaking
That's the problem of the bracket. That's the problem. That's what you got to live with.
I don't understand how the committee does not sit there and say, that's bad TV.
But how would you fix that if you're going to
move Ohio State up? All you had to do was flip-flop them. I'm not saying they deserve to bye. I'm not saying.
So you're saying Ohio State.
I'm not saying they deserve to go ahead of Notre Dame. But then put them there.
But then you're giving Ohio State the benefit of the doubt and penalizing Penn State, even though Penn State went further.
But Penn State lost to Ohio State.
They also didn't lose to Michigan. They also only had one loss, and it was you guys. You had two.
And we almost beat Oregon, and they were pretty much getting beat around in that game for most of it.
I have no problem.
I live in the world, and I understand that the committee can do whatever they want in this situation where I'm not okay. And I will tell you this: Ohio State deserves what they got. I will tell you that. I actually, again, I'm upset in a way, but it's also like they deserve that. That's what you're right. They lost to Michigan. They deserve everything they got. Alabama deserves everything they got. Miami deserved everything that they got. And the flip side, Arizona State deserves what they got in SMU. But the thing is, I'm going to try to take the Ohio State homerism out of this for a second. That is weak. That side of the bracket is terrible.
Yes, I know it's terrible, but that's what happens when you have when you emphasize those conference championships, because it's like, should Arizona State be ahead of Penn State?
I guess because
side
they won
of the conference championship, but yes, obviously the Big 12 is inherently much weaker than the Big 10, but that's the way it's set up. There's nothing you could do about it.
Now the thing is, they would end up running into Georgia in the semifinal. But you're right. Texas, Ohio State are on the same. I guess they were always going to, you can flip it and say, okay, well, this all comes back to I do not believe in Penn State at all, and I don't believe in Indiana. I frankly don't believe in Notre Dame either. But, I don't know. I really thought it was going to go Notre Dame. I mean, we talked about it, right? The 5 seed actually doesn't solve a lot because you'd still be on that side of it, but then you just have Arizona State, right? But here's what I really thought. Notre Dame would have been 5. Put Ohio State and Penn State 6-7, but then Texas screwed you over. And I get it. I would not have dropped Texas any further than 5. And that's where our rooting guide was for the Bulldogs, and that didn't happen. But, to have I guess you got weakness everywhere because of Arizona State and Boise State. Why are you bitching? Why are we all bitching? Because those two guys got buys.
Yeah.
Those two teams got buys.
That obviously messes everything up.
It does mess everything up. I really think that's some bad TV. I'm just going to talk about the games I got to watch. That's some bad games.
And everything's about money, but I hate that being the argument because
you put an 8-9 seed as your premier game because the other games are going to be ass whoopings.
Allegedly, you don't know.
Texas will wipe the floor with Clemson.
Okay.
Penn State
you don't know that.
Should beat SMU. Notre Dame should not have Indiana within 20 points of them at any point of that game.
I mean, they lost to NIU.
Sure.
Never know what's going to happen.
Sure.
And that's what the problem is. It's like if you actually want to let these teams have a chance, then you make these rules and you say screw it with TV ratings. If they earn the spot, they earn the spot.
Well, the other problem that I have is crying poor now with what Alabama's doing. Again, it's easier because we made it. Ohio State knew we were going to make it, all that kind of stuff. Alabama's sitting there crying, all right, well, we'll just watch us. We'll change our schedule. Shut up.
Like, what schedule did you even have?
You lost to 2.
You lost to 6-6.
6-6 Arkansas.
And then you got blown out by 6-6 Oklahoma.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear anything.
I don't want to hear that either. 100%. And that's where, Ohio State's Michigan loss was bad. The Oregon loss is palatable.
Texas, I just realized, Texas lost to Arkansas. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right. That's what that was. But they still lost to 2 6-6 teams in the SEC, correct?
Yes.
Right. That's the mark that everybody keeps bringing up. So if they're sitting there and they go, well, you only value the conference thing. Of course they do. Of course they do. And that's why they're going to put the value on the conference champions. Here's the problem, Alabama. You play in the SEC. You can't sit there and complain about it because you play in probably the best conference in football. It's better than the Big Ten. There's only 2. So don't sit there and bitch to me and threaten that you're not going to schedule good out-of-conference games. You don't need to.
Who did they even schedule out of conference that was good? That's the funniest part.
No, they had oh, that's right, because Texas is in the SEC.
Please enlighten me. Who they scheduled out of conference that was this supposed monster resume builder?
They beat Western Kentucky, Southern Florida, and Wisconsin. Beat Georgia, lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Tennessee, lost to Oklahoma. That's right, Alabama's got 3 losses. But the 2 that we talk about were Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. You can't do that. Can't do that. Then they're going to say, well, we beat Missouri, we beat LSU. Sure, fine. Here's the thing. I'll give you the Tennessee loss. That's fine. It's the same thing I'd say to Ohio State. As long as you didn't lose to either Vanderbilt or Oklahoma, you're going to the playoffs. Ohio State made it, sure. If they had one more god-awful loss, we would have made it. And I think that's something that you can look at with these teams. Here's what you need to avoid. 2 god-awful losses. That's it. If you are a powerful team in the Big Ten or the SEC, just avoid 2 what-the-hell losses. Ohio State only had 1. That's why they're in. Now, again, you play 4 ranked teams and you lose all 4, you ain't going to make it either. And those wouldn't be what the losses. But, and it's like them solving this Rubik's Cube of what they think the conference wants, or I'm sorry, what the committee wants. It changes. It's always going to change. And yeah, it benefits my team in Ohio State probably more than maybe some others. Alabama's no different than Ohio State. The committee wanted to find every single reason they could, Ryan, to put Alabama in there, and they just couldn't. Yeah, inevitably, with the expansion that's going to happen again, out of conference will be done. And I think it should be already. They use those games as preseason. When we go beat the living crap out of Akron, let's get this guy in the game so he doesn't transfer. Let's keep some of these guys happy. Let's get tuned up, and then we'll get ready to go for conference. Eventually, that is going to change. How many conference games does any team play now? 8, 9, right? Usually?
I think 9.
9?
Or, yeah. Wait, it's 12 in the regular season?
Yeah, 12, but it's like 12 is a good number. I like 12. So what do? You say you're only going to play 2 out-of-conference games, 10 conference games? Do that. And inevitably, there are some conference games that you should beat up on some people, right? And Big Ten's a little easier because you got the Rutgers and the Purdues of the world and all that kind of stuff. Not quite the same for the SEC. Hey, Alabama, just go leave the SEC then.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead. Go independent. Do whatever you want.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead and leave. You got a big problem with this. Just get out of the SEC then.
Yeah, and go lose all that money. But they won't. Because
they won't. Of course they won't. Of course they won't.
But then they'll bitch about it.
Well, they're always going to bitch about it. They're always going to complain about it. And they're going to sit there like, well, we were the first ones out. Yeah, when they go to the 16, they're going to get it.
They'll why it's so annoying.
But for right now, don't lose that game. Don't lose to Oklahoma.
That's what I'm saying. And Alabama will bitch about teams like Iowa State, bitch about teams like Boise State getting the bye, bitch about teams like SMU getting in over them. Well, then, hey, first of all, don't lose 3 games in the regular season. Well, I know don't lose 3 games in the regular season, and then you would get in. But then again, yeah, if you're that mad about it, then go ahead. Go to the Big 12. Go to the ACC, right? But you won't because 1 of the money, and then 2, yeah, you're in the playoff talk every single year. God forbid these teams that earned it this year are actually making the playoff for once in their lives.
Yeah, and that's what the conference committees, or that's what the playoff committee wants. They want some of the new blood. I think it's phony when they try to tell you they like upsets because they don't. And they think SMU is going to lose and they don't expect Boise State to go win the championship and all that kind of stuff. But you still sit there and say they do what they want to do. For better or for worse, this is what they do. This is how they want things to go. So if it benefits you, sure, you're going to be happy. But them coming out with these threats, these meaningless, empty threats of like, well, we'll just change how we do our conference scheduling or how we do our schedule. Go ahead. What's that going to change? Nothing. And Ohio State, the same thing. I would honestly, if I was ADs, especially in the Big Ten or the SEC, yes, Don't schedule anybody. Sorry to Notre Dame, we're not doing that. You know, the idea that we could get to the Big Ten SEC crossover, which I think is an interesting idea, that 1 week, everybody plays somebody from the other conference. That'd be a lot of fun, would it not? Do that. 12-game schedule. You get your opener against the lowly other teams. 1 week, or even do this. You know what? I'm going to fix it all right now. You ready to go for this? First 2 weeks, nothing. Okay? Your openers, your beat-up teams, whatever. Week 3, your crossover. Rutgers plays Vanderbilt. Ohio State plays Alabama. Georgia plays Oregon. Just match them on up. Done and done. Then you start a conference schedule. You got 9 games in your conference. And it's almost like what college football should truly be. Nobody has conferences. That 1 week, everybody plays everybody. Do that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Do that. And then there should be some marquee wins. The thing that they're sitting there, they're trying to say, well, this, okay. When they go, well, this should equal this. You know, Alabama, we beat Georgia. That should equal this. Sure. But then you lost to Tennessee. I'll give you then the Vanderbilt loss. You're at even footing, and then you lost to Oklahoma. Ohio State, you lost to Oregon. Maybe should have won, probably should have won. Okay, that aside, you ran the table, you beat Indiana, you beat Penn State, you had your lonely loss to Michigan. There was never a fear of us not making it. Ohio State was always going to make it. I could complain again about the seeding, but the conference bye is what screws everything up here. But that's where I just, it's hard for me to sit here and listen to these other teams actually make a good case about why the committee screwed this up.
I think the only team that has any right to bitch about it is Oregon.
About what they did behind them.
The only team that could have a gripe with this is Oregon.
Sure.
I think that's the only team.
Well, then that comes back to a lot of what people have brought up, and Joel Klatt keeps bringing up other people, reseed after the first round. Because, again, you could have it where, yeah, Oregon would then get Ohio State, most likely, and then they're probably going to have to face Texas, where Georgia has to beat Notre Dame and maybe Penn State. That's not fair.
Well, yeah, but then it goes back to you're talking about Penn State loses the Big Ten championship. Now they have an easier route than Oregon, who beat them. I understand they get a bye. Obviously, that's the most attractive thing. But if you're James Franklin and Penn State, I mean, you should easily handle SMU. No offense to SMU, but you should be fine. And then just because you played that one extra game, then you have such an astronomically easier route to the championship.
The other problem that you have, the numbers mean everything, yet they don't. Is Penn State better than Ohio State?
Is Penn State better than Ohio State? I mean, probably not.
They're ranked higher. Is Notre Dame better than Ohio State?
So, because I would say Michigan's better than Ohio State, or Ohio State's better than Michigan, but you still lost. Just because you're better than them doesn't mean...
Sure, I get that, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the seeding, it's not, I don't think the seeding is truthful. I really do not think the seeding is truthful. Now, the problem is because the conference buys. That's what screws thing up here.
I'll be the first to tell you, I love that Cincinnati got in, and they deserve to get in because of how it's formatted. But were they one of the 4 best teams in the country? Probably not. But they were 12-0, and they deserve to get in based on how it's supposed to go.
Over to Bill Connolly, ESPN. How all 12 teams could win the college football playoff. This is what he did. Where they're at and how they can win it all. You want to do all 12?
I'd love to hear Ohio State's.
Oregon, they would win with precision. And he talks about success rate. He gets into a lot of stats. So he says precision. How is Georgia going to win? With resilience and upside. How would Boise State win? By having the best player on the field.
Running the ball.
Just give it to Genty as much as you can. How can Arizona State win? They're the hottest team in the country, apparently.
They lost to my Cincinnati Bearcats.
Take that. How can Texas win? They have the best pass defense in college football. There were some plays like that on Saturday, but sure. How can Penn State win? He says by any means necessary. Scored at least 34 points in 8 of their 13 games, and they allowed 20 or less in 9 of their 12. Okay. Number 7, Notre Dame. How can they win? Nasty man coverage. That's what they do. We'll get to Ohio State in a second. Number 9, Tennessee. And this is an important one for the Ohio State game. I'm going to read through this. How can Tennessee win the college football playoff? Havoc. They have Bill does this, a havoc measure. It's tackles for losses, including sacks, passes defended, including interceptions and breakups, and forced fumbles. And he says that's how much disruption and havoc a defense can bring. That's Tennessee. That's probably not good for Will Howard and crew. Volunteers offense struggled at times this season in the explosive department. They averaged just 11.7 yards per successful play, which is 115th in college football, because they have a lack of go-to weaponry on the outside. Only 28% of their receptions came from receivers lined up outside of the slot. So it should be a good day there for Davison Igbinosun and Denzel Burke, but we'll see on that. It says running back Dylan Sampson is the one you got to watch. They never move backwards. They're set themselves up, so they create havoc. How can Indiana win the college football playoff? With a weakness-free defense, SMU, high variance of what they do, and Clemson, house money. He says, make the run, be your Cinderella story, got nothing to lose. Final one, number 8, Ohio State. How can they win the college football playoff? First down. He says Ohio State is one of the better first down offenses in the NFL. On first down, they have the 9th best success rate on offense, the 9th best success rate on defense. Near 50% of the time that the Ohio State's on first down, they have a successful play. On defense, they only allow 35%. So Bill's whole right, but I know that's kind of getting down into it a little bit. He says if Ohio State keeps winning on first down, both defensively and offensively, don't get behind the chains, you push them back, they got their chance to go win the national championship. He says Chip Kelly's whole playbook at his disposal, Judkins, Travion Henderson, and the best receiving trio in the country with Jeremiah Smith and Mekabuka and Carnell Tate. Jim Knowles can tee off with one of the best pass rushing defenses in the NFL or in college football, and they have active corners in Igbinosun and Denzel Burke. That's the write-up for Bill Connolly on the way Ohio State wins the national championship. I still have it. Per the SP, they have 12.5% chance to win it. 12.5%. All right. Oregon, 20%. And that's what I'm saying. You hear 12%, you're like, pfft. Oregon, 20, Georgia, 16. Then Ohio State at 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Texas actually has 17%.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm honestly surprised. They have a better chance. They give them than Notre Dame.
They give them a better chance than Georgia and Notre Dame.
You just said Georgia's 18.
No, I'm sorry. I screwed that up. Georgia's at 16%. So here's how it goes. Oregon, 20. Texas, 17. Georgia, 16. Notre Dame, 9. Ohio State, 12. That's it. And then you got like 0.6% for Arizona State. Tennessee's 5%. Indiana's 4%. SMU, 3%. All that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the path is there. You don't see it because it's hard, because it's tough, whatever. I do think things have obviously calmed down. It's not ideal because you're going to have to see Oregon in the second round. And that's maybe where my anger comes out. But just go beat Tennessee. I think this should be an easy one. I don't know. I can't trust Ohio State. That's my biggest problem in this. You should be at home. And I saw the lines already. What is it, not 7?
Let's take a look. So when are we giving our official bracket predictions?
Well, we could do that Friday before, the 20th, because they all start on the 21st.
I don't know if they have lines out yet.
Oh, I saw them.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, college football playoff.
Yeah.
Ohio
State 7. Yeah. So open at 7. It's now up to 7.5. I think that's fair. That's fine. Do you really, 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 really trust Ohio State? I don't know. But I think that's fair. You're at home. I know Tennessee's going to bitch about being out on the road. Whatever. It's going to be cold, too. It's going to be cold. Bringing them on up here out of the SEC. All right, let's catch our break. When we come back, we'll get through the morning update quick, but I really want to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly for the Browns game yesterday, so we'll do that. Got a fresh week for the grid. A slam time hop today, and we'll get ready for Monday Night Football tonight as well. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. You can follow on Twitter X at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on Instagram and YouTube at Big Play. We're also up on Twitch. You can follow us there. I'm at Matt Fontana 83. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. Morning update comes your way next.
The
Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages, because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, Tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
I would like to see the Guardians re-sign Shane Bieber. I think he'd give them a franchise-friendly contract because his market value has diminished so much following the surgery. He's not going to be able to demand the kind of money on the free agent market that he would have before the injury. So I'd like to see us keep him, even if he's not ready to start the regular season. Be a couple of months in. I'd like to see us keep Matthew Boyd. Veteran presence. Did a fabulous job for us. Great pickup by Antonetti and Chernoff.
I'm going to start counting Juan Soto's cash here. We'll talk to you next week. Here it is. Fontana Show. Welcome back. Big play. Ryan's got stories, morning update, some cash spent by the Guardians as well. Got all the stories. Got grid. Got time hop. Take it away, Ryan.
Alrighty, yes. Well, we start there with Juan Soto. The superstar outfielder has agreed to a deal with New York Mets. 15 years, $765 million, Matt. That's not only the largest deal in baseball, that's the largest deal in professional sports history. The deal includes an opt-out after 5 years and no deferred money. If Soto chooses not to opt out, his deal will go up $4 million per year from 51 to 55, meaning the total value could exceed, Matt, $800 million.
Then he got a $75 million signing bonus. And that apparently might have been the deal breaker between the Yankees and the Mets. Because on the whole, it looks like, and this was the article from CBS Sports this morning, that said it's easy to look at and say, oh, they got outbid by $5 million. Like, no, like, if the signing bonus, the non-deferred payments, all that. And obviously, if Steve Cohen, listen, wherever he thinks that money's coming from, I don't know. But, like, bro, how, like, it is so insane to think about. You're going to have to pay all of this money. You know, even if he opts out after 5 years, like, where does that money going? Where is it? Like, listen, I'm sure he's got accountants that probably tell him, like, no, you're good for this. You're good for that. Then the question is, too, do you keep going after other players? That's the part of it with Juan Soto. If I was going to a team, I would sit down and say, are you still going to spend cash to bring in good players around me? Because also think about this, right? And I don't know the Mets, contract situation. But, like, you're also walking away from Aaron Judge to now be protected with Lindor and Pete Alonso? Right? Is Pete Alonso even paid up? I don't even remember. Like, okay. So if you're gonna say because the only thing to look at too, I got paid. Don't nothing else matter, right? Nothing else matters. I got paid. Okay. But if you want to also then compete, you got to give them the flexibility to go out there and sign more people and build the team up. That's the thing, baseball. You just keep spending. So the thing is, I'm sure they told him in those meetings, like, yeah, man, yeah, we're going to spend for you guys. Don't worry about it. We're going to bring other players in here. We'll see how that goes. At the end of the day, dude, even if he just got $75 million and that's in his bank account this morning, he's doing just fine.
Hey, you offer to pay me more money and get me out of the Bronx, I'm taking that deal all day long.
He's still in New York, though.
He's still out of that gross stadium with those gross
So
fans.
what? I mean, he doesn't live in New York. He's probably somewhere in Greenwich or somewhere, outside of town or something like that. He's doing just fine. I'm sure. At this point, he could buy half of New York. Not really, but, just go buy whatever you want. That's it. So, good for Juan Soto. I guess he just really likes New York. Likes the weather, though.
Alrighty, well, I find this funny that this is news, but Buckeye fans, I actually had a problem with this one, Matt. I'm ready to hear your thoughts. But class of 2025 quarterback Chase Herbstreit, yes, son of ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit, has committed to Michigan on Sunday. That's the second quarterback to commit to Michigan in the last month after Bryce Underwood, the number one overall prospect of the 2025 class, flipped his commitment to Ann Arbor.
That's got to pain Kirk, and I hope to not have to feel that, but it's a little different when you're an Ohio State former quarterback captain in Kirk Herbstreit. I'm going to be honest with you for a second. I think that is just a giant jab at Ohio State. No offense to Kirk's son, and I can't remember what his name is. Chase. He didn't even have a rating from ESPN.
Right.
So it's not like he was even a 2-star. He didn't even have a rating. And he got a scholarship. I think that's just a subtle jab shot at Ohio State.
Well, who said Ohio State even offered him?
I don't even think he did. That's my point.
So how's it a jab shot?
Because you took a former Buckeye.
Oh, you're saying Michigan did it intentionally?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
With no real plans to ever have him play.
Probably not. I mean, I don't know, man. And the other thing is, if that kid only had a couple of D1 offers, what are you going to take? Of course. I get it. I ain't knocking the kid. Better football player than I ever was. All right. I ain't knocking the kid. But I'm just saying, does that not seem like something you do at Michigan? That not something you try to do?
Think they'd waste a scholarship to do that?
Yeah, for a little while. Think revoke it.
I don't think you can revoke it.
I don't think you can. No, you can't. But still, good for him. Little jab at Ohio State. That's what I think happened there. That's just me.
All right, we'll make it a quick morning update. So lastly here, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, Matt, but it was talked about that Bill Belichick did interview for the open head coaching job at North Carolina. Sources tell ESPN that the talks have continued this morning with some type of resolution either way expected by this week.
Yeah, and that's why. Why? I thought maybe he really doesn't care about chasing Don Shula down. And he knows that this is the only way that he'd keep a job. It also probably tells you that this media thing ain't quite all for him. Who knows? Maybe he could do both, But then Doug Gottlieb, he still hosts his radio show. He's the head coach of a college basketball team.
We talk about why for Bill Belichick, but also why for North Carolina.
Oh,
you're going from Mac Brown, who is 1 year older, 74. You're really going to go down the route of a 73-year-old who really is an NFL coach. I'm not saying he can't come coach in the NCAA ranks.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I think
is
it's
a
a publicity
73-year-old
stunt.
really going to be committed to the grinding of recruiting?
That's the other big thing in this whole. Does he really want to go there and talk NIL with these kids? Is he just getting his name back out there as hiring cycles are going to start firing up for the NFL?
But doesn't that almost seem like you wouldn't do that because as the hiring cycle's coming up, you're going to make it look like, oh, you want to go to the NCAA?
No, I mean, you want to drum up interest more than anything.
Right.
Or does he get the vibe that Jerry really is going to keep Mike McCarthy and that the Saints are going to hire Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson's going to get a job and Aaron Glenn's going to take it. Maybe he really is getting the vibe from people. I'm not going to have a job waiting for me. So I might as well do the best that I can, keep my name. And I don't know. I'm with you. I'm so confused.
Go on the beach with your 25-year-old girlfriend and enjoy your life, man.
The Jake Paul jokes with Bill Belichick and I can't do it. I can't do it. But anyway, scientists found a Greenland shark.
I saw that.
It's been alive for 356 years or something like that. Somebody quoted and they go, don't let Jake Paul see that.
Well, Jake Paul quoted himself.
Oh, he
said,
did?
I found my next opponent.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't see that part of it. Somebody else was like, don't let Jake Paul see that. Yeah, I mean, you would think walk away. The other thing we all know, Bill is just wired differently. He'd go coach a peewee football team if he could. Like, him not coaching football is probably killing him. Even with the media stuff, even with the Manning cast, it doesn't scratch him where he itches. And he knows that's what he wants to do. So if he could take I don't want to say low-level job in college, it's still UNC. I think it's one of two things. It's either he's just trying to get his name back in the news cycle for these other hiring jobs in the NFL, or he knows he's not getting an NFL job. You better take the best that you can get and go do that.
I don't know. It's interesting. Like a guy like Bill Belichick, I understand he's going to command respect any room he walks in, but you're really going to go at this old of an age and go deal with these 18 to 22-year-olds. Like, it works in the NFL. They're more grown. You know, their frontal lobes are developed.
I agree.
And wouldn't you rather, if you're missing coaching that much, maybe it has to be for him a head coach role, but wouldn't you just want to go down the route of like a Vrabel, what he did this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's sit out, again, like, not that he was going to go just be some consultant or something like that. I think the media thing works for him. It's got to be one of the two. It's either a signal he's not getting an NFL job or he's just trying to drum up some interest. I don't know. And that's the same thing. It's the same idea that he doesn't have some golden-plated job waiting for him. You know, Jerry, what happened? He probably called Jerry and was like, hey, Jerry, what are you thinking? And he goes, I can't guarantee anything for you, man. You know, because if he did, then he'd go, great, I'm just going to go there. I'm just going to coach Dallas.
You really think he'd want to coach Dallas?
He'd take any job that he could. What are the openings he got? He's going to have New Orleans, probably Jacksonville, probably the Raiders. They already fired Chicago.
I don't know.
Maybe Dallas.
You think he's that desperate to head coach?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like I said, man, I just think he's wired different. Like, he'll do whatever he can to keep coaching. The money does not matter to him. The I say fame relative. Success matters to him, which, again, is why I thought he'd get back into the NFL and try. What's he behind Shula? 30, 27 games? How many games Bill Belichick behind? We're racing to see if we can get it. You're going to have to do math.
13.
No.
14. 14 wins.
14.
He's behind.
That's right. 14. 14 is correct. That's 2 mediocre seasons.
Okay, don't look at the screen. Name the top 5 all time.
Okay. Obviously, it's got to be, Shula.
Yep.
Belichick.
Yep.
Probably Curly Lambeau.
No.
Okay. Are these all coaches that are like, legacy, like
Yes, but one's still active.
Andy Reid?
It's 4.
Okay.
You should be able to get these other 2. They're like the most famous ones.
Okay, I don't think Chuck Noll.
No.
The most famous ones?
Pretty much. Obviously most successful, but
It's not Curly Lambeau?
no.
It's not Chuck Noll.
No.
It's not Jimmy Johnson.
No. Wow, I thought you'd get this easy.
Wait, Wow, I know why I'm struggling on this. I would think a Bears coach, but not Ditka. Wait.
Do you need a phone a friend?
Well, give me the era. Are they all like a long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I'm like. Not Paul Brown. No.
But one was a Bears coach.
That's what I'm having a brain fart. Who is it?
George Halas.
George Halas.
And then the other one wasn't Jimmy Johnson. It was also a Cowboys coach.
Oh, Bear Bryant. No, not Bear Bryant. No, not Bear Bryant. I'm such an idiot. Why can't? Oh my God.
Tom Landry.
Tom Landry.
Oh God, I hope this isn't foreshadowing for the grid.
That's wow. Ugh. That was disgusting. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. Hey, Bieber, real quick. Bring up Bieber.
Oh yeah, Bieber. I didn't bring up Bieber.
Good for him. Good for the Guardians. I figured a deal somewhere around there. I would have liked to have done like a 5-year extension with him. I get it. You want to see the elbow. You know the other bad thing? We got to remind ourselves, we ain't going to see him till June. You ain't going to see him till at least June or July. So you got half of a year. Hopefully he pitches well. Maybe you can redo something. I don't know. I love that deal for them. I love to see Shane Bieber back, but don't forget, you still got a real starting pitching problem. I ain't trying to knock Tanner Bybee, man, but that's going to be your opening day starter. Boyd gone. What's your starting rotation opening day? Bybee, Gavin Williams.
I mean, I'm
I
assuming
think Joey Cantillo.
and you're probably going to have to see what you got in McKenzie, honestly.
Maybe Ben Lively. He's under contract, is he not?
And I mean, are you just that hamstrung that you bring back Alex Cobb till
No.
Bieber
I
gets
think
back?
that ship has sailed. That ship has completely sailed. Logan Allen, like, it's a tough spot. Tough spot. So I'm happy Bieber's back, but we also got to remember you're going to see him for just a little while. All right, yeah, I hope this is not a misnomer. Let's go. All right, 2 statistical categories for us today. Obviously, got to get the Bengals, got to get the Cowboys. Monday Night Football tonight. Got our picks later on that. It's twitchy. I got the lock. It's twitchy. I got it. I got the lock for tonight. All right, let's roll. Go.
Pro Bowl for the Bengals. Ocho Cinco.
Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow.
Jalen Hurts.
Did he make a Pro Bowl?
1,000-yard receiving season. Okay, that's
Josh Gordon.
0.8%.
0.8%. There's our guy. All right, I just want to do the 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
Sure.
Well, I was going to say having to go CD Lair. It's fine. Or Michael Irvin or, yeah. I was going to say Brandon Cooks
Did
there.
Andre Johnson, he didn't play for the Bengals or Eagles, did he?
No, he went to Tennessee, I think, right? All right,
Where do you want to start?
just kind of open it up. Quarterbacks, Nick Foles didn't do either one of those.
Bengals, Cowboys, Andy Dalton.
Yeah. Okay. Bengals, Eagles, Cowboys.
That's is that not DeMarco Murray?
I think so, but I don't know for sure. I know he went to Tennessee. I don't remember if he went to Philly or not. Eagles.
Mark Sanchez played for Cowboys?
I don't remember. Huh.
Sean Jackson never played in Dallas. I don't think.
No.
Brandon Cooks never
Chris
played
Carter.
in Philadelphia.
No.
Stephon Gilmore. I don't think he played in Philly.
I don't think he played in Philly either. Again, I think we're missing some like huge like Hall of Famer type legacy type player.
Terrell
here.
Owens. Did he play for?
Yeah, T.O. Works.
Right?
Yeah, T.O. Works. That's exactly what it is. T.O.
You just can never spell Terrell.
Done. All right.
Texans, Bengals.
Is that not one of the Ohio State DBs? It's not Jeff Okuda. That's maybe what I'm thinking of.
Eli Apple?
Yeah, but maybe Eli Apple.
I don't think so. Obviously not Lattimore.
Von Bell, I don't think so. All right, set that aside. All right, Matt Schaub, no. Carson Palmer, no.
Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, duh, Joe Mixon.
It does indeed work.
Joe Mixon. All right, final one. Eagles, Texans. Eagles, Texans. I don't know why I'm feeling DN for some reason.
Not your Davion.
No. Whitney Merciless. He used to play for the Texans. I don't remember if he ever played for the Eagles or not. Like Brandon Graham, no. Vince Wilfork, don't think so. Can't think of any DBs.
I don't think Nick Foles ever played for the Texans.
I don't think so either. Tyrod Taylor came to mind, but that doesn't work.
Got plenty of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, plenty of time.
Will Fuller, no.
Saquon, obviously not Saquon. Darren Sproles, no.
D-Hop, no.
No. That'd be scary, though, if he was on that team, wouldn't it?
Deonta Foreman, I don't think he played for the
No. Zach Ertz, no. I don't think Fat Randy works. I mean, I know he kicked in Texas, but or Houston, excuse me. But I don't think he ever kicked for the Eagles. Oh man. Eagles just have so many drafted guys. All right, like, I don't, like, you know, Randall Cunningham, there's no way, because, again, you got to remember, the Texans are just the Texans. It doesn't go back to the Oilers. So it's just when they came here. Like, there's no way Donovan McNabb.
We're not missing a quarterback, are we?
I really don't think we are. It'll be some fluky one like the Cowboys and the Bengals, like John Kitna works there too, but I can't think of one here. Case Keenum never played in Philly. Josh McCown? Not enough to rip it.
Ryan Mallett?
Robert Woods?
I don't play for the Eagles.
I don't think so either.
Carlos Hyde, I don't think played in Philly.
All right, this is a deep cut. And I want it to be right, but I don't think there's any world that it is. Remember Owen Daniels, their tight end down there in Houston? I don't think he ever went to Philly, though. The one Selleck brother played forever in Philly, but I don't remember if he ever went to Houston. I can't even think of any like Browns players that went through either one of those spots to try to, like, you know, go over to. I mean, old friend Josh Johnson, I know, was in Houston. I don't remember if he went to Philly, but I know he was in Houston. I want to believe... no. One of the Detmer brothers was in Philly. I know that. But I don't know if he ever went to Houston. Damn it. Yeah, not Clowney, not Watt. I don't think so. Brian Cushing. Brian Cushing came to mind. But I don't... Who was the other linebacker that was on that Houston team? They had two. Brian Cushing was a psycho, but they had somebody else on that Houston defense that was a good linebacker. Jeremiah Trotter never went to Houston, I don't think. Brian Dawkins went somewhere after Philly, but it wasn't Houston, I don't think.
Matt Schaub, no. I don't. Vinny Testaverde, did he ever play for the Eagles?
Did he play in Houston?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Damn. Rip through the other ones. We can't screw this one up. Ugh.
LaShawn McCoy never played for the Texans.
No.
Darren Sproles, no. Donovan McNabb, no. Jake Elliott, no.
Bro.
Gotta rip something.
I know. And that's the thing. I don't like McCown. we had to go with one, I would go with Josh Johnson, but was Tyrod ever in Philly?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
I want it to be right, but I don't know.
Case Keenum never played for the Eagles?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, man. Jay Ajayi, I don't think ever played in Houston.
I don't think Houston. I want to believe it, but I don't think so. Arian Foster?
I don't think ever played in Philly.
We're at time. Josh Johnson?
Yes. I mean, I don't have a better guess. D'Amico Ryans.
Wow.
I mean, if that's the most popular, that probably
Go,
tells
yeah,
you.
scroll back up, though. We got to take a look. That's bad. That's hard.
Is Eagles Texans?
Yeah. Brandon Cooks!
No, that's Brandon Brooks.
Oh, Brooks. Okay.
Yeah, no, he never played.
Wait, Jason Babin?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Sean Barber, Chris Polk, DeAndre Carter. I mean, that one was tough.
Yeah.
By
By the way, remember when I was sitting there saying, who's that other really good linebacker with the Houston Texans, Brian Cushing? It was D'Amico Ryans. That's exactly what I was
Was it
thinking
really?
of. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
We really got to rip the word off.
We got to rip the world on a Monday here. Got to save ourselves on a Monday.
Let's see the chat. Josh McCown.
I don't think he worked. I don't think he worked.
Nobody even in the comments had any.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one for us. I think that was really hard. That was not an easy one there.
All
But,
right, man.
all right.
Fails.
Fail. All right.
Oh my god.
How about FL? Flirt? Oh, the I's already gone. I think it's too many letters, too.
Flown.
Yeah, I like that. All right. It's weird that N is out of place because it can't go
Yeah.
FLN.
Right, so it's got to be the third.
So it's got to be.
I'm going to say flank.
Well, it's got to be FLEN. There's literally, I can't think of another word that would, or another letter that would fit in. Oh,
Flunk.
flunk? Oh!
Blunt?
I don't think that's a word.
Blunt? Well, blunt.
Flunt? Flund?
Blunt? Is that a word?
Flunt? I don't think so. Flump? It's not a word. Flunk. That's not a word.
Flung.
Flung. Slow clap. I don't like using it on a Monday. But here we are. Slow clap there to get the grid done. And then we continue on that.
Well, it is what it is.
What's that?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You want to break? You want to do good, bad, and the ugly? You want to get to time hop?
You want to do good, bad, and ugly?
Let's get the good, bad, and the ugly out of the way. We've been waiting. We've been pushing it off. Here we are. Let's get to it. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the Browns and the Steelers yesterday. I only got one good, and it was the throw from Jameis to Jerry Jeudy for the touchdown. I did like some of the things I saw from Jameis. He moved out of the pocket a little bit. A little more mobility than I think we've seen from Jameis, but that is the only good from that game yesterday. The bad, number one, stupid penalties costing you left and right. The pre-snap penalties, I'm sick of them. The personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, those are 15-yarders, man. You cannot have that. Stupid penalties are a mark of a bad football team. That's what you are. You continue to commit them. They need to cut Kadarius Toney today. That's number one on the bad. Number two, I think the defense was bad. At some points, I think they were good. At other points, I can't tell anymore. I don't know. Like, they are extremely inconsistent. Again, Ryan, that is mark of what? bad football team. Inconsistency. There's times I think they're fine. I think there's times they play well. I don't even know, but I put them on the bad. And God clearly didn't listen to Jameis Winston about not throwing interceptions anymore. I guess he didn't throw pick sixes.
Yeah, it only has to be delivered from pick sixes, not
there you
interceptions.
Go. Deliver us all. Deliver us all, if we can. The one interception was kind of, I would say, bogus. It was a great play by Keanu Benton. What are you going to do? You're trying to throw a screen, didn't see the guy. It's not like he had a bad read, although there's one that kind of drop. Whatever. This is what you live with Jameis. I don't know if now is the time. Can we maybe pass the edict that we need to be done with that's what you get with Jameis comments? No more tweets. No more of that statement. No more saying that. We know that. We got it. I don't need it to be said. Well, that's what we get with Jameis.
The experience.
We got it. The Jameis Winston experience. Not quite as good as the Jimi Hendrix one, but we'll do with what we can. No more tweets. And I vow on this show, we're done with the, it's the Jameis Winston experience. Not going to say it anymore. That was under the bad. The ugly. Here comes Dustin Hopkins for a field goal attempt. Can you fix that? Is he fixable? Is it worth trying to salvage because you have him on a contract? You don't have a choice at this point. Do you do the phony IR injury? He's got a pulled hammy. His calf isn't all that good right now. Is it time for that to put him on the phony IR? Because that really, I'm not even kidding, that might actually be the only way for you to try to get his mental state back. He pulls everything to the left. And then, of course, what does he do? He pushes one of the right. Like, it's golf. You know when you stand over a shot, even of us hacking it up down at a Muni track, you know when you stand over a shot and you go, I'm going to screw this up. That is what is in Dustin Hopkins' head right now. The other problem is going to be nothing is going to fix that until he hits a 48, 52-yarder and he feels good about himself. Kevin Kisner, by the way, new lead golf analyst on NBC. Did you see that? The Kiz. He was talking at a tournament and he got smoked. And they were talking to him and he was kind of emotional about it. And he goes, I can't compete if I can't drive the golf ball. He goes, I don't have as much length as these guys, and I don't have, frankly, the skills of these guys. If I don't drive it well, I cannot compete, and I cannot win. That's a guy that was on a Ryder Cup, by the way. And he goes, I could sit on the range and stripe 1,000 of them straight down the middle where I want. I get on that tee box, it's a different ballgame. And that's Dustin Hopkins. He can go down to the stadium. He could go to Berea. He could kick 1,000 times over and over again. Nothing is going to solve him until he gets out there and actually hits a kick of meaning. The problem is he's going to be standing over that kick like I am sitting on my couch going, he's going to shake this. I really think, I'll do this for you, okay? I will do this for you. You got one more game, all right? You got one more game. I don't even remember who we got. Chiefs. Oh, great. Thanks. I'll get you that one. And if it goes bad again, then we're going to sit you down. And we'll fake an injury. We'll put you on IR and try to get your head right for next year. Because there's no reason to, you have no other recourse other than sticking with Dustin Hopkins for right now.
Yeah, it's pointless at this point.
It's pointless. And especially you see it, the other frustrating thing is what? Dude, I watched the Chiefs last night with their third freaking kicker. Their third freaking kicker they found. Now that guy was not, some of those were a little dicey. But it comes back to what a level, we talk about the confidence and the culture and the mindset of this team. Look at your kicker. That is a prime little litmus test to tell you about the confidence of your team. Because if you got a kicker that just walks up and goes, I feel good about this team, I feel good about where we're at, you can find it. Everybody says kickers are a dime a dozen, right? You'll find it. Well, when things are going bad, and then Dustin Hopkins does that, it only is going to mount the pressure. There's nothing you can do to fix that right now. There is absolutely nothing to do right now. So, you got to stick with him. You have got to stick with him. And the problem is going to be you're going to have another kick, at least I hope at this point of the season, another meaningful, potential game-winning kick. And are you going to go line up guy pulled off the street? Or are you going to try to line Dustin Hopkins up? Here's the other crazy thing. I'd actually rather line Dustin Hopkins up. Put him out there, try to build some confidence back, so at least that's not one other thing that I got to pull out a pile of crap to figure out for next season. Your list, your laundry list, your shopping list for next season for the Browns is a mile long. I really didn't want to have to add kicker to that. I really didn't want to have to deal with that. So actually, this is probably a hot take this morning. Here you go. I'm fine riding out Dustin Hopkins for a while.
Even if he does come in and, kicks a couple 50-yarders, gets back in the groove, it seems like, was this stretch of atrocity for him? Are you able to come back from it next season?
Yes, and I will tell you why. I've seen kickers around the league do it. There are a small, little group of guys that are the elite, and you even see Justin Tucker falling off. You see Chris Boswell. Dude, Matt Prater, Greg Zuerlein. How many of those guys get moved around? Now, what do you see? It's all these young, little wiry, spry-legged little guys that just bombing 65 yards. You know what I mean? All these kickers are young because they got the leg. They got some juice in that leg, right? And yeah, Dustin Hopkins is a little bit older, but I think he can make those kicks, sure. But all these guys have gone through getting cut and moving on to the next team. Again, it comes back to my wave theory. You're just trying to find a guy to ride the wave. And eventually knowing that wave is going to come crashing up to the beach and it's going to be all over. But you just got to try to find a guy to ride for that time. Kansas City, whatever you think of Harrison Butker, like, they think they got it with him. It's going to go bad. It's going to go bad. It's going bad with Justin Tucker. It's going to go bad for Chris Boswell. Who's the other elite kicker? Jake Bates. Eventually, yeah, it's going to go bad because it gets amplified when you're on a good football team kicking balls that actually matter. Don't nobody care if the Saints misses kicks. Don't nobody care what the Panthers are doing. And that's, this is coaches speak of what I'm going to say here. You sit down and you tell them, bro, that is the blessing and the curse and the weight that you have to bear to kick meaningful kicks. It's going to get amplified when you screw that up. Now, right now, nobody cares. Nobody cares. That game didn't mean anything. But that is the burden that you carry as a kicker, to have ones that actually mean something. And you just got to hope that he can get his mindset back for next year, but here we are. My final ugly was 22 GD years of losing in that freaking town. They got an aura. They got so much cooking for them at home, and it sucks, and it's really hard to play there. That just kind of is what it is. So there's the good, the bad,
Shout
and the
out
ugly.
Baker.
Yeah, well, postseason. Regular season, been 22 years, man. Regular season. That is a tough go of it there. All right, never a tough go when we get to timeout block to get to. Let's roll. All right, let us fly here on the 9th of December. We'll get our Monday Night Football picks coming up. I kind of had an idea for a bracket, but I think we're gonna have to talk through it a little bit. Okay. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, 1 year ago today, Shohei Ohtani signed his 10-year, $700 million deal. It's a better deal to have. 10 years, $700 million versus 15 years, $765. But no, I don't think signing bonus. And then the deferred payments. That's the thing. No deferred payments here for Juan Soto. Yeah, he gets that cash, man.
Can't Shohei just move to Florida?
What's that?
After he's done playing baseball?
Yeah, he can move to wherever Well, that was the big thing when he signed. That's a great point that you bring up. Everybody's saying, he signed this in California, and the state was going to fight to say that even, in 20 years, he's going to have to pay that money here, but I don't know how that works. Tax code is an interesting thing. Bro, we just got the tax appraisal for our house. Jesus Christ. Holy God. I'm an adult in so many ways, but some of the other. Bro, they did the reappraisal of our house. Oh. And I love our house. We do not have a big house. It's not that. We got to cut them a $1,000 check. On top of, that's what we're short on our property taxes.
Wow.
For the love of God, I have children. Doing this. Wow. Good Lord. Anyway. This day, 2020, Ohio State was selected for the Big Ten championship game. It was COVID. They said they were just going to pick the two best teams. Do you remember who we played in 2020?
Was it Northwestern?
It was Northwestern.
What a
Look at the
joke.
fall that Northwestern has had. Northwestern. This day, 2019, Charles Robinson posts an article about Odell Beckham. According to sources, he is frustrated by not playing at the elite level he thinks he's capable of, and he's still unsure of his fit with the Browns, including his relationship with the coaching staff and the role on the offense. Hey, man, he never wanted to be here. Dorsey pulled it off. You tried to make it work. It just didn't. It's kind of the same thing with Deshaun. On a much grander scale, it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. You could throw all the money that you have at it. For Odell, you could put Jarvis here. By the way, I think I can speak freely on this now. That was all a sham. That whole friendship between the two of them, and I'm not saying they're not friends, and I'm not saying that it probably wasn't a good thing that he was here. It was never built up to the level that some people wanted it to be, or what they tried to make you believe that it was. It only goes so far anyway, but it is what it is. This day, 2019, Cavs lost their seventh game in a row and fell to 5-18 on the year. This day, 2019. Look at us now. This day, 2018, the Browns beat the Panthers 26-20. Jarvis Landry had a rushing and receiving touchdown. The Browns won 3 of 4 games and surged to 5-7 under rookie Baker Mayfield. And at that time, Greg Williams and crew.
Was it?
Yeah, 2018. They beat the Panthers 26-20. This day, 2014, the Browns announced that Johnny Manziel would be their starter again for the remainder of the season. What a joke that was. Sham and get it off. Ohio State hired Tom Herman this day, 2011. Isn't he a piece of crap? I don't know. What a fall off for him, though. Goes to
What was
Texas.
his position?
He was the OC quarterback coach.
Okay.
OC quarterback coach.
He was at Houston for a while.
He left Ohio State to take the Houston job. Then he got the Texas job. And I think he just got, did he just get fired or they said he was coming back? One of the two.
I don't know.
He's at I spoiled it. What school do you think he coaches right now?
Well, I remember it was FAU.
Oh, he got fired.
And then Lane Kiffin took it over, no?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he had to have been out of there. He got fired last year. So he didn't do anything this year. Interesting.
Wasn't Lane Kiffin at FAU? Or am I making that up? And then he went to Ole Miss?
Maybe that's it. No, wait. There's somebody at FAU. I think I'm getting UAB confused because, yeah, there's a guy named Zach Kitley who just took the job. No, wait. Wait a minute. This isn't. Oh my God. I'm an idiot. It's 2024.
Yes, that would be right.
Tom Herman got fired a month ago. That's what it was. He just got fired at FAU. And they just hired somebody. I knew it. I was like, wait a minute. Something's not working here. But no, he just got fired. That's right. He'd take over for Chip Kelly next year. This day, 2006, Troy Smith wins the Heisman. Do you remember what the Tracy McGrady game where he scored 13 points in 33 seconds and the Rockets came back and beat the Spurs? He stole the inbound, the corner three, and he just hit it. Happened this day.
I've seen the highlights.
Yeah. There's the only NBA player shoes I ever bought was Tracy McGrady's. I had a pair of Adidas T-Max, black and blue. Those are good shoes.
Were you able to dunk?
Not with those shoes, but I dunked like in college.
You were actually able to dunk?
Yeah, mini ball. I couldn't do a real ball, but I can't palm a basketball.
In college?
What do you mean? I could jump high enough. I just couldn't palm the basketball.
So you couldn't dunk?
No, I could not dunk. I could not.
I've never even been close. So.
Oh, I can touch. I'd be interested to see if I can still touch the rim.
I've never had hops in my life.
I could jump. That was one that I wasn't very fast, but I could jump. I could do that. This day, 1995. This guy was fast and could jump. Eddie George wins the Heisman for Ohio State this day, 1995. Prince Charles and Prince Diana announced their separation this day, 1992. This day, 1985. So I want you to think about this for a second. December 9th, 1985. Jerry Rice began his NFL record streak of 274 consecutive games with a reception. what year do you think that streak ended? So 274. You know, you try to do your math.
Can I pull out a calculator or no?
If you want, sure, go ahead. But that includes playoffs.
No, I understand. So it began in 85.
Yes.
God, when did he retire?
This was close to his end of his retirement. And I will tell you, the streak...
1990... 2000?
2004.
He didn't retire till 2004?
Oh, he retired, I think, at the end of 2004. But he was on the Raiders, and he wasn't the same anymore. But think about that. He went from December 9th, 1985 to September 19th, 2004. Every game he played in, he had a catch.
That's crazy.
Now, it doesn't always have to be 100 yards.
Right.
Like LeBron's streak of scoring 10 points in all the games he's played, I think that's a pretty good streak. But, and get a catch. But think about that. It's crazy.
No,
274 games straight for Jerry Rice. I die every time I see that Uber Eats commercial. Oh, really? What are you eating? Jerry. Jerry's eating right. Matthew McConaughey cracks me up. Like the deadpan, the pancake blocks, turnovers. That commercial makes me, I die every time I see it.
Horns down.
What's that?
Horns down. He didn't have a good weekend.
No, he did not have a good weekend. He did not have a good weekend. Neither did Bevo. They should have taken Bevo. Maybe if he'd have been there, it would have been a little bit different. He would have spurred Uga, taking him out there. Eric Dickerson, at the time, rushes for 214 yards this day, 1985. He broke O.J. Simpson's single-season record of 2,003 yards. He finished with 2,100 rushing yards, a record that still stands to today. Will that ever be touched? No. Not in today's NFL, I don't think. This day, 1949, the AAFC merges with the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers, and Baltimore Colts all merge into the NFL. Two other teams merged with other teams to come into the NFL this day, 1949. Very happy birthday goes to Kelly Oubre, Kurt Angle, Michaela Maroney, gymnast, Dick Butkus, Donnie Osmond, Trey Cool of Green Day, former Browns defensive back Dalen McCutcheon, one of my favorite Browns players of the 2000s, and former Cavs guard World B. Free, all celebrating birthdays today. All right, today was a hard day for movies because I had a lot that were like, oh, it had its premiere in Las Vegas this day, but it didn't actually hit theaters. Okay. And when I do it, I usually try to wait until it hits theaters. You know what I mean? So I got a pretty solid list for you here today. See, this one, you know what? I'm going to throw this one in here because I think it was just released, but it's also on the list that I checked. I'm debating all this, but we got a lot to get to. You ready? First up, movie 2022. And we talked about this actor last week as having a giant career resurgence.
Career resurgence?
Yes.
Oh, Brendan Fraser?
Correct.
The Whale?
That is correct. The Whale came out this day, 2022. Haven't seen it. I think I know the premise, right? He needs to lose a bunch of weight. He's losing his daughter, custody, all that kind of stuff. The Whale. This day, 2022. All right, another film this day, 2005. I think this was one of the most popular movies of the 2000s. And it's because it was two very famous actors playing roles that talked about I want to say and it's not a societal issue, but it's a thing very much in our society. Try not to quite give it away.
Is it something racial?
No.
We need more than that.
Okay. It's set out in the West, like out in the mountains.
Oh. It has something to do with sexuality.
Yeah. And that would be Brokeback Mountain is correct. I've actually never seen it.
I never neither.
I know the premise. I got it, but Brokeback Mountain is correct. This date, 1988. I'll get you 1,000 credits if you get this one right. I love this movie. This is a great...
You got to switch to credits.
Yeah, I had to switch to credits, man. We're running out of it. This date, 1988. This is a comedy film starring two extremely well-known actors. And the whole premise is that they are long-lost brothers that look nothing alike, but are rejoined and have to deal with somebody trying to come and kill them. It's a very niche movie, okay?
Gosh, yeah.
And when I tell you, these two actors, the whole gimmick of this, they are the complete polar opposite physical traits of one another.
Is one Danny DeVito?
Yes.
And is one Johnny Depp?
No.
Is that My Cousin Vinny?
No. My Cousin Vinny's a great one, but no. No. All right, if I said Danny DeVito's one.
Is the other one De Niro?
No. I'm talking about, remember the physical part. Think about one of the most physically...
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Oh, those are the two actors?
Yes, those are the two actors. So I don't know if you'll get the movie or not.
Probably not.
Okay. If you were born with a sibling at the same exact time, you would be what?
Twins?
Twins is the movie.
Oh,
So the whole
twins.
gimmick is this. They were trying to create the ultimate human species. And they created Arnold Schwarzenegger in a lab. What they didn't know was that there was a twin and it was Danny DeVito. So they send him off and he becomes a criminal and he's living this bad life. And then they finally tell Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, no, you've got a brother. You've been lied to your whole life. We were lied to that our mother died and she really didn't. Then they get caught up in a mob situation where DeVito's trying to make money, so he steals a car. They go across the country. R.I.P. Kelly Preston's in that movie. So hot. She plays the love interest in Arnold Schwarzenegger. Great movie. Not bad. I don't know if it's quite worth your time, but Twins is correct. This day, 1988. All right, we go two movies on the same day, 1983. We'll go with what I think is the more popular one. It's hard to not give this away. This is one of the most famous mob movies of all time.
Casino?
No.
Goodfellas?
No. 83.
Godfather?
No.
Scarface?
Scarface is correct. I don't know what else I could have done to lay that one up for you. All right, also this day, 1988. This is a supernatural horror film directed by John Carpenter. So it's not Halloween. It's not The Thing. It is an adaptation of a 1983 Stephen King novel that was very quickly turned into a movie. What's that?
Carrie?
No, but you're damn close.
Pet Cemetery?
No.
Not it.
No. Not Carrie, but another, like, I don't know if you'll get it, another female's name that starts with a C.
Chloe?
No. Have you ever heard of Christine?
No.
The whole idea is the car is possessed.
Okay.
A 1958 Plymouth Fury named Christine has a mind of its own, jealous and possessive personality, which is a bad influence on Arnie Cunningham, who is the lead in this one, played by Keith Gordon. Imagine if your car came alive. That's Christine, this movie, 1983. All right, final one. This day, 1965, animated film, 'Tis the Season, and it's not The Grinch.
What year?
65.
Rudolph?
Nope.
Frosty?
Nope.
Santa Claus?
No.
Heat Miser? Whatever that's called?
No.
It's a Wonderful Life?
No. Animated.
Oh.
It's a huge, there's a whole, like, world of these, and they have ones for every other holiday, too. What? This particular character and his group of friends. There's one for Thanksgiving.
Charlie Brown?
That is right. Charlie Brown Christmas came out this day, 1960. Probably goated. I like The Great Pumpkin. You know, there's nothing like Charlie Brown's Christmas. So that came out this day, 1965. All right, quick on the bracket. I did want to do your favorite holiday movie, but I think we should save that for, like, next week.
Yeah.
You know, so we're in all this week. We're in all next week. Then we're going to be off around the holidays. So we should probably save it for next week. I thought about something for college football, but I don't know what nothing was speaking to me. And we don't have to do the bracket. Like, you and I like doing it when there's something, like, really pertinent or, like, we can have fun with it.
Yeah.
I want to try to do something with college football because, honestly, I had this thought on Saturday, too. College football is better when Texas is good. I don't like Texas. I don't particularly root for them, but it's better when teams like that are good and you want them to be involved. I'll say the same thing about Ohio State. I'll say the same thing about Georgia, Florida. College football is better when Florida is good. They just are. So I was thinking about that of like, your favorite college program, Ohio State, like all that kind of stuff. Just that it's on our mind.
People just vote Ohio State, though.
I know. That's why I was like, going to be other than them. It's not speaking us, so maybe we don't have it for right now. Nothing. And sometimes I'll do it when like Time Hop comes up. I got something working on Time Hop, and I'm like, oh, that makes me think of it. Nothing really spoke to us. Let's set it aside for right now. We can do one tomorrow. We can always figure them out tomorrow. We'll get to that. Well, speaking of tomorrow, we'll have our bets placed ready to go for Monday Night Football. Bengals, Cowboys.
Yeah, what's your lock?
5.5.
Definitely your lock's definitely Bengals.
It's the Bengals. They also, on OddsShark, they really like the over. Bengals have scored 34 points in at least 4 straight games. Dallas becoming a pass-happy team with Cooper Rush. Expect fireworks. These teams in combined allowed 30-plus points on 10 different occasions just on defense. Over-under is set at 49.5, so they like that very much. Cincinnati over in their last 5 games. They're 1-4 in their last 5. They're only 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 games against the Cowboys. But here's another one that I like. Cincinnati covers on the road. They are 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. Dallas just 3-8 against the spread their last 11 games. They've only covered 1 of their last 7 games at home. So I'll take it on both sides. I like the over, and I like Cincinnati to cover for this game here tonight. Cincinnati riding a 3-game losing streak. The playoffs are about done. But I expect them to score 30, and then for Dallas, I think they should be. Dude, anybody could freaking score on that defense. But Dallas winners of 2 straight. They're trying to believe that they can get this done. Tell me not to parlay those 2.
Don't parlay those 2.
Okay. I'm just going to take them separate. I'll take the over. I'll take Cincinnati. Ryan, you sounded skeptical when I gave you my lock.
No, I'll take Cincinnati. As well.
Yeah. I think they're going to run the ball better. They've got the better receivers. And I'm asking freaking their defense to show up, which is just laughable at this point. You like this one? This is my boost for tonight on Bet365. Chase Brown and Jamar Chase to score a touchdown. Burrow 250 and Jamar Chase 70 reception yards. You like that?
I do like that a lot.
It's only plus 350, though. It's not a lot of juice. Not a lot of juice on that. Jamar and CeeDee to score a touchdown, then each have 70 yards receiving. Chase Brown and Rico Dowdell both scored touchdown, both get 60 rushing yards.
I don't know about that.
Cooper Rush and Joe Burrow, 2 touchdowns each passing and 250 yards each. They got a tight end one, too. That's all Bet365. Check it out. All right, appreciate everybody joining us here. We're back tomorrow. Tonight, don't forget, Hanford-Dixon Show. We got the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'll check it out. BigPlay.com. Go to our YouTube page. Check out Instagram. Got it all for you. We'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.